All right, well, with the selling pressure that we've seen in the broad markets, the NASDAQ has been relatively immune. Today, we're back to our reflex that it's tech stocks and nothing else that we want to own. Of course, one of the culprits of the selling pressure has been what we've been seeing in the bond market. Let's bring in Eric Jackson, founder and president of EMJ Capital, for some perspective. Eric, how are you thinking about the NASDAQ holding in?
I've been surprised, Amber, that the sharp acceleration of rates over these last few weeks has been a surprise. And of course, one of the narratives that goes with that is that growth tech and tech stocks in general are just are going to have to take a hit because these things are profitless and all this. Now they've gone down obviously along with the rest of the market, but I think on a relative basis, the beat down on the tech stocks hasn't been that bad, and today they're bouncing back. So to me, it suggests that these stocks have already endured the pain of 2021 and 2022, and even with these the sharp upticks in yields, I think these things are poised to continue to do well over the next few months.
And can they do that if we hit 5%, if we hang out at 5% on the U.S. 10-year?
I mean, we're basically there now. I mean, if the thing goes to 13% or something like that, then all bets are off. But yeah, I think what we'll see is if there's even like like today, there's a sharp pullback from what 4.83 in the 10-year in the U.S. 10-year to like 4.77. Even these basis point drops, suddenly everybody rushes back into the tech end of the pool.
And I guess the question is, where do you go? Do you go in sort of the blue chip quality that's got a lot of profit, the Magnificent Seven, which of course is reigning supreme today? You've been on in the past, you've talked about profitless tech. Does profitless tech really work in this environment, though, if we do hang out at 5%?
Well, I think it's on a case-by-case basis. So, today, for example, Tesla and Rivian are screaming. I think Tesla's up like 4%, Rivian's up 5-6% or something like that. I own both. I'd say those are kind of more of the bigger names, although they're not, Rivian's not profitable yet, but Tesla certainly is. And there's a name that's up 107%. So I heard your last panel talking about getting these dividend-paying companies and stuff, and here's two examples of these big stalwart tech names which still can do well in this environment, especially if the big three keep going on strike. But on the smaller side, you got to pick and choose. The two names I like, and I've talked with you about them before, are Carvana, which is still profitless, and Groupon, which, even though it's sort of profitless, turning back to profitable, and I'd say that's more of a value play in terms of like the new management team there, turnaround story, what's to come, high short interest, potential big short squeeze that could come in a name like that.
Okay, so that's still a trade that you're looking for. What about, we can measure animal spirits through IPOs. We're waiting for the Birkenstock one, which obviously isn't a tech IPO, but is a test of the markets. ARM, Instacart, Klaviyo, they're all close to or below their IPO price in the case of Instacart, which, by the way, you were quite pessimistic about. So if you followed his advice, it worked out for you. But what does that tell you about kind of enthusiasm in the market?
We still have a ways to go. Birkenstock is not a kind of a typical venture-backed tech IPO, obviously. We're not really, I think Instacart had to get out the door because it needed the money. I think when I was on with you last, it was trading at like 40 bucks. I said, wait till 20. I think we're getting there. We're certainly closer to 20 now than we were to 40. I think Klaviyo is a real company. So it's a real IPO that people should probably kick the tires on. But until we start seeing like every other week, some sort of new, younger, venture-backed tech IPOs coming out, that's a sign that there's not the animal spirits yet in the market. These names like ARM and whatever are kind of special cases.